I try to be subtle. Am I on? Yeah, okay. We are going to begin in the supplements on page 2 at the bottom. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. I will build this world from love, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. And you must build this world from love, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. And if we build this world from love, yadadai, dai, 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 then God will build this world from love, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Olam chesed yibana, yadadai, dai, 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 dai. Shabbat Shalom. It is nice to be together this evening. It's really wonderful to see all of you here and to be together and to be able to say Shabbat Shalom, to wish each other a peaceful Shabbat for the first time in 3 weeks when we are not in the middle of a hot war. To be able to have hope that this ceasefire will hold, that the result of the conflict will set a course towards a more lasting and just peace for all the peoples of the Middle East, for Israel and her neighbors, and for all of us. And that requires building a world of love and treating each other in that way. So with that hope, you'll notice a lot of readings and reflections related to peace and building a positive future throughout our service tonight. Because that is what Shabbat is. Shabbat is meant to be a day of peace, a day of rest, a day when we put down the implements of struggle and strife, not just between each other, but with the world, when we wrestle with the world to try to make it, shape it to the way that we want it. We're supposed to recognize and appreciate the world as it is and help it to become the world that it ought to be. So that's what we look for Shabbat, and that's what I hope this Shabbat will be for all of us, a moment for us to enjoy and to rest together. We are using our new version of the Siddur, the version that we have been piloting of this new Siddur. I'm not going to, those of you who have been here over the last few weeks know that I have been explaining a whole lot about the Siddur. I'm not going to do that so much anymore, but just to point out, if we open to page 4 for a moment, just to show you briefly the layout, that on the right-hand side we have the Hebrew and transliteration and translation of the prayers. And then on the the other way around. The right-hand side, we have the Hebrew transliteration and translation. Left-hand side, we have we have interpretive readings that take the theme of the prayer and reflect them in a more poetic or modern, relevant kind of way. And then on the far right, a column of explanation that tells us what's happening at this point in the service, why it is we're doing whatever it is what we're doing, a little bit more about the meaning and the structure of the service. So these pages are designed to work as one full page. Everything on that page is related to the same theme. So as we go through the service, feel free, whatever page we're on, to read anything that's on the page that strikes your interest or seems meaningful and relevant to you at the time. So we are going to continue on page 1, actually page 2 of the Siddur. And the other thing about the Siddur and the way that we use it is, of course, that everybody is always welcome to read, sing, join in, however you feel comfortable doing so. Nothing that I'm leading is meant for me to solo, so please join in as much as you can. Page 2. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for fellowship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life. Back on page 4, we prepare to light the Shabbat candles. So Debbie, if you would lead us. Read first.
The light we kindle is for our families, for the warmth and joy of being embraced by family love. The light we kindle is for our people in every place on this good earth, for families who cannot light their own candles, and for a people that knows how difficult it is to walk in darkness. The light we kindle is for all humanity. It is a constant reminder to all of what each of us can accomplish, of what we can be.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. On page 5, we welcome the Shabbat angels of peace and joy. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barchuni l'shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Seitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon. Mimelech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. And now we turn to page 12 for Psalm 29, the last two lines of English, Psalm 29. May Adonai grant strength to God's people. May Adonai bless God's people with peace. The last two lines of the Hebrew. Adonai oz la'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai yivarech et amo. Vashalom. Adonai yivarech et amo. Vashalom. Vashalom. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai oz le'amo yitain. Adonai yivarech et amo. And now we are ready to welcome the Shabbat bride on page 13. Lecha dodi, come my beloved to greet the bride. We sing the verses in the larger print on pages 13 and 14. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. 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 Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmiyanu el hamyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem ol tiferet v'litila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri, Kiva orech, Kumi ori, Uri, Shir daberi, Kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom עטרת בלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We can be seated. Turn to page 17. In this quiet hour of worship, we reflect upon the meaning of our lives. I harbor within, we all do, a vision of my highest self, a dream of what I could and should become. May I pursue this vision, labor to make real my dream. Thus will I give meaning to my life. Just as an artist in the course of painting will pause, lay aside the brush, step back from the canvas, and consider what needs to be done, what direction is to be taken, so may each of us on this Shabbat Eve pause to reflect. As I hope to make my life a work of art, so may this hour of worship help me to turn back to the canvas of life to paint the portrait of my highest self. And may I always hold before my eyes the vision of perfection we call by the name of God and grow toward it. We rise on page 17 for Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, Be'alma divrach hiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, B'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Bagala, Bagala, Uvizman Kariv, Vimaru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'alam u'le'almei almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar, V'yitromam, V'yitnaseh, V'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, Shmei Dekudesha B'richu, Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, Tushbechata v'nechemata, Da'amiran be'alma, V'imru, Amen. Page 18, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. We can be seated. And we'll continue on page 19. We praise you, God, ruler of the world, who creates light and darkness, who plans and forms all things. We are grateful, God, for this beautiful world in which we live. We wonder, what is the right way to live? Are there certain mitzvot we should do? Can our daily lives be as special as the world we have been given? We learn what to do from you, God. You teach us in Torah what is right and what is good. You show your love for us by giving us mitzvot. We thank you for helping us lead good lives. Staying on page 19, we give thanks for the gift of Torah, gift that God gives us in love, Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadata, otanu limadata. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shachbenu uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed ki hem chayenu ve'orech yamenu Uvahem negeyomam v'layla, negeyomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatcha al tasir, mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Ohev amo Yisrael. Page 20. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha Bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha Vehayu hadvarim ha'ele Asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvlechtecha v'derech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha Vehayu letotafot ben enecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Page 23 in the second paragraph. Leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai, Vitem kedoshim lelohechem, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, V'hiot lachem lelohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 25, we find the words that the Torah tells us the Israelites sang when they got across the sea on their way out of slavery in Egypt, and they realized that they were finally forever free. They burst out into a song of celebration and liberation that has become part of our liturgy to reflect the liberations, the freedom of our own lives. And so we sing Mi Chamocha. Yum bye bye bim bim bam, yabba bye bye bim bam, yum bye bye bim bim bam, yabba bye bye bim bam, ay 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 ay, yabba bye bye bim bam, ay 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 ay, yabba bye bye bim bam. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh, nora tehilot. Oh, say fella, Nora tehilot. Oh, say fella, yum bye bye bim bim bam, yabba bye bye bim bam, yum bye bye bim bim bam, yabba bye bye bim bam, ay 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 ay, yabba bye bye bim bam, ay 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 ay, yabba bye bye bim bam. malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe ze eli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed yam bye bye bim bim bam yabba bye bye bim bam yam bye bye bim bim bam yabba bye bye bim bam ay 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 yabba bye bye bim bam ay 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 yabba bye bye bim bam. Page 26. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May night spread over us a shelter of peace, of quiet and calm, the blessing of rest. There will come a time when morning will bring no word of war or famine or anguish. There will come a day of happiness, of contentment and peace. Praised be the source of joy within us, for the night and its rest, for the promise of peace. Page 27, we keep Shabbat, V'shamru. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael ot hi le'olam, ot hi le'olam, ot hi le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash, shavat vayinafash. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. We come now to the Amidah, the central section of our service, which begins on page 28. And the Amidah allows us time both to join together as a community and then continue with our own private prayers. So we'll start together on page 28 through page 31, and then continue individually from there. If you wish to follow the liturgy of the Siddur, it goes through page 40, or you can look inside yourself for the prayers of your own heart and your own soul. And when you've had as much time as you'd like for your private prayers, you may be seated. But we begin by rising together on page 28. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, ve'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, ve'Elohei Leah, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים. סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. At the bottom of page 40, prayer for peace. Ose shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru Ose shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol yoshvei tevel. Ose shalom bimromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru amen. We turn our thoughts now to our loved ones and friends who are ill, those who are struggling physically or spiritually or emotionally. Tonight in our congregational family, we think particularly of Alan Bavarnik, Arthur Campbell, Jessica Cohen, Mike Cohen, Phyllis Dillon, Valerie Frank, Jennifer Galvin, David Glazer, Marcia Kamens, Harvey Katzen, Molly Kay, Nancy Mayer, Frank Moreshi, Michael Moreshi, Paul Newfield, Sarah Newfield, Mark Panasuk, Gail Rosenberg, Lynn Shapiro, Cindy Sherman, Yonina bat David HaKohen v'Sara, Esther bat Chaim v'Goldi, Fegi bat Shlomo Nisan Halevi, and Gittel bat David. If there's someone for whom you are particularly concerned tonight, who is in your heart this evening, and you'd like to mention their name aloud, we invite you to do so now.
Mark Perkins, Dr. Bob Ellison, Judy Ellison. Phyllis Burke, Ruth Kaplan, and Jerry Hunter.
We hold all of our friends and loved ones in our hearts as we turn to page 55. Where we find our prayer for healing, Misha Berach, on page 55. Misha Berach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Berach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. on page 56, we join in a prayer for our country. Our God and God of our ancestors, grant to our country the will and wherewithal to fulfill its calling to justice, liberty, and equality. May each of us fulfill our responsibilities of citizenship with care, generosity, and gratitude, ever conscious of the extraordinary blessing of freedom, ever mindful of our duties to one another. Bless those who volunteer to labor on behalf of us all. May they find the strength and courage to complete their tasks and fulfill their dreams. May our judges, elected leaders, and all who hold public office exercise their responsibilities with wisdom, fairness, and justice for all. Fill them with love and kindness, and bless them that they may walk with integrity on the paths of peace and righteousness. Creator and protector of all, watch over our armed forces and all those entrusted with our safety as they daily put their lives at risk to protect us and our freedoms. Be with them in times of danger. Give them courage to act with honor and dignity, as well as insight to do what is right in your eyes. Fill us all with the gifts of love and courage, that we may create a world that reflects your glory. May we each respond to the charge of your prophet, for what does Adonai demand of you but to act justly, to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God? May the one who brings peace on high bring peace and prosperity to our world and keep us in safety. And let us say, Amen. It is our custom during our summer services that we don't really give full-fledged sermons or wear a tie, but I saw something this week that I wanted to share tonight. In our Torah reading cycle, we are in the fourth book of the Torah, which in English is called Numbers because of census. Moses takes a number of times during this book, takes a census of various groups of the Israelites. So there are lots of numbers in this book. But the Hebrew name of the book is Bamidbar, which translates to in the wilderness. And that better captures the content of this book as a whole. There's a chaotic, untamed, kind of wild aspect of these Torah portions. I often joke that the Israelites fetch their way through the wilderness. But in all seriousness, it is a time of great upheaval for the people because they don't know where they're going to get water on this journey. They don't know where they're going to get food. They don't really know where they're headed, even if they have heard their ancient stories of their ancestors' connection to this faraway, imagined promised land. They don't know how they're going to be able to survive fighting with their enemies. They repeatedly doubt their leaders, both their human leaders and their divine leader. And now, 5 portions into this book, that doubt explodes into a rebellion. A full-fledged attempt to overthrow Moses and Aaron, and perhaps, by extension, even God. Well, the rebellion fails, and the rebels die in some unusual ways that aren't relevant at the moment, but it's a great story, and I'd be happy to tell you about it some other time. And then an uneasy equilibrium returns for the moment, until next week's portion when the people once again get thirsty and complain about the lack of water. But without pushing the parallels too hard, it seems to me that for the last few years, the state of Israel has been itself Bamidbar, in the wilderness, careening from crisis to crisis, facing challenges both internal and external, doubting their leadership, and I would add often with good reason, and uncertain where they're headed or how they can get there from here. So this past Tuesday, I read a blog post on the Times of Israel website that struck me as a poignant, personal description of the way that particularly the last 20 and a half months since October 7th, have affected at least the author, at least this one young Israeli man, and I wanted to share it with you tonight. I should note that although it was published on Tuesday, it actually was written a few days earlier in the middle of the war with Iran, probably last Thursday, somewhere around there. It is titled 622 and 7 Days of War. As we approach a greater war, I am reminded more of my history, the history of my family, and the history of my people. Who am I in these confusing and dark times, and who do I want to be? Who was I raised to be? I'm writing this after 622 days of war. The person I am today is not the person I was 623 days ago, and I sometimes miss him. On October 7th, 2023, Hamas started a war with my country. This war did not come out of a vacuum. It had been long awaited on both sides after many years of operations that took a toll on everyone. All I can remember from that day are two things. First, the phone call from my mom telling me a war started and my dismissing her out of disbelief. And second, the army calling me, saying they needed me, and my refusing to leave my wife, then my girlfriend. It took me nearly 7 hours before I broke and decided to leave for duty, as if I knew something bad was going to happen, as if I knew nothing good awaited me beyond the front door. On October 8th, I was tasked with a mission suited to my abilities, video and editing, a skill I had learned at age 13 to express myself, to spark emotion in others, and bring my thoughts and imagination into reality. This mission, however, was the opposite. My team received videos from every possible angle of an attack still in progress. Plastic tubs of phones and GoPros lay on my desk as my team and I plugged them in, horrified, only to see more death. I remember the worst of things. I saw it all, and it is now mine to bear. That same day, amid the horror, I grasped one truth very clearly. The pain and sense of revenge had grown so strong in the hearts of the people of Israel that I knew the destruction of Gaza would be so intense that this could never happen again. I follow one artist in Gaza, a very talented man whose name I won't mention for his safety. We spoke once about a project I wanted him to work on. He said we couldn't speak, and I understood why. Under Hamas, accepting money from Israel could get him executed. On October 8th, I wrote, "Stay safe," and he replied, "You too." That exchange captures the person I was then. Many people died on October 7th and 8th, but something else died in everyone's hearts. The idea that one day we could live together in two countries, sharing a border in mutual respect and peace. I still follow that man and his family and the struggle they endure each day in this terrible war, a war forced upon us, a war that doesn't know how to stop. Sometimes I lie awake at night thinking, what if we stopped it all now? What if we went no further? Then I see images of little children tied up while their captors torch houses, smiling, sipping Coke from the fridge before moving on. I know my friends fighting in Gaza. I know that cruelty is not what they set out to do. We are peace-seeking people, at least the great majority of us. We will never take children hostage or film a live execution and laugh. Those are my thoughts as I try to live with the pain we cause every child who loses a home while the IDF gains control of the Strip. I mentioned at the beginning that I think about my family's and my people's history a lot these days. I'm not a religious man, but I believe in God and in the Bible's stories minus the miracles. I believe the Jews have survived because we were the first to write our history and thus the first to learn from our mistakes. I believe with all my heart that Jews need a country. Personally, I wouldn't have cared if that country were in Africa or the Americas. I feel connected only to the earth. But there was no other place available, so reclaiming land taken from us was the only realistic start. As the war in Gaza worsened, the world showed its real face. They talked about refugees and dead children without mentioning ours, without acknowledging that we are fighting more than just Gaza and that we too have refugees. I have lost the last of my family here because their house was destroyed, and now they have found refuge in Argentina. The world spreads fake stories and dusts off one word it has longed to use since World War II, genocide. They know that word hurts us most. It rattles and shakes us, driving us into our darkest thoughts. This propaganda reaches Israelis even if they don't admit it, making us feel the war is only in our heads, that if we stopped now, everything would be fine. I watch protests in the US with sadness. I've never fully forgiven Europe for World War II, but the US feels like a second home, and I sense history repeating itself. I see Jews chanting slogans they don't understand, calling for their own destruction. I see liberals supporting regimes that oppress people, and I see it all happening with no one stopping it. I try to tell myself these people are good, that if I lived in the US and hadn't seen the horrors, I probably would have stood with them. I remind myself they're people without historical memory. They live through the media, but don't remember that less than 3 years ago, they marched against Iran's regime under the banner, Woman, Life, Freedom. As the war in Iran enters its 7th day, I'm writing this. IDF planes fly over Iran, trying to destroy a nuclear project from a regime that publicly vows to wipe Israel out within 5 years, even putting a countdown clock in its main square. I can't help thinking of the scared children and good people of Persia. Watching smoke rise over Tehran and Esfahan, a memory crawls back. A trip to Berlin with my grandfather. He showed me the home he fled in 1941 and the shelter where he hid during bombings. I thought, my grandfather ran to shelters, and 2 generations later, I still run to shelters. Then another thought crossed my mind. My grandfather wanted the bombers to win. He knew life isn't black and white. If the Allies had attacked harder and sooner, maybe more Jews would have lived. Maybe the Holocaust could have been stopped. I think of this as I see Israel bombing Iran, a force whose only goal is death and domination. Today we wait once again for the US to join the war late, after suffering already incurred, as has happened before. The Jewish people have survived one Persian Holocaust, which we commemorate with Purim. I recall that in the 1930s, many Americans protested attacking Hitler because he hadn't done anything to the US, and that thought calms me slightly, hoping people will one day understand. I was raised to chase justice and peace, and I thought I had lost that, but I haven't. Today, the 622nd day of the war with Gaza and the 7th day of the war with Iran, I have lost friends. I know hostages still held, and I have seen the Western world cheer my country's destruction and the horrors humans commit. Yet I believe in peace. I believe the Middle East can one day thrive together, and I believe that after war comes peace. I pray that his belief gets fulfilled and rewarded. As we wander through this wilderness, we may not know where we are going, and we may not know how to get there, but we hope that the destination is peace. In the Siddur on page 57, we find a prayer for peace, the bottom of the right side from Psalm 122. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you be serene. May there be peace within your walls, quietness within your palaces. For the sake of my people and my friends, I will speak of your peace. For the sake of the house of Adonai, our God, I will seek your good. Shalu Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohavayich. Shalu Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohavayich. Yehi Shalom Bechelech, Shalva be'armenotayich, Leman achai v're'ai, Adabrana Shalom Bach. Shalu Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohavayich. Shalu Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohavayich. Leman Beit Adonai Eloheinu, Avaksha Tov Lach. Leman Beit Adonai Eloheinu, Avaksha Tov Lach. Shalu Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohavayich. Shalu Shalom, Yerushalayim, Yishlayu, Ohavayich. Ohavayich. Even as we are glad and grateful for this ceasefire between Israel and Iran, we recognize that there are still Israeli hostages held in Gaza by Hamas. Today is day 631 since October 7th. It has been 90 weeks and one day since that attack and there still remain some 50 Israelis held in Gaza. And so on our song sheet, as we have been doing for all of this time, we join in the prayer for those held captive. Our God, the one who raised Joseph up from the pit, be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. Send complete rescue and full redemption to those held captive by the enemy. Strengthen their spirit and bring them our prayers, that they be protected from all harm. Implant understanding in the heart of the enemy, that they may return the captives in wholeness of body and spirit. Grant wisdom to the Israel Defense Forces, that they may secure freedom for the captives without loss of life. Grant strength of spirit and courage of heart to all the sons and daughters of Abraham, Sarah, and Hagar, to release bonds of captivity and allow us all to live in freedom. They shall call upon me, and I will answer them. I will be with them in distress. I will rescue them and honor them. We turn now to page 66. When evil darkens our world, let us be the bearers of light. When fists are clenched in self-righteous rage, let our hands be open for the sake of peace. When injustice slams doors on the ill, the poor, the old, and the stranger, let us pry the doors open. Where shelter is lacking, let us be builders. Where food and clothing are needed, let us be providers. Where knowledge is denied, let us be champions of learning. When dissent is stifled, let our voices speak truth to power. When the earth and its creatures are threatened, let us be their guardians. When bias, greed, and bigotry erode our country's values, let us proclaim liberty throughout the land. In the places where no one acts like a human being, let us bring courage, let us bring compassion, let us bring humanity. Aleinu, it is up to us. We rise on page 66. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובהי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת. אין עוד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. May be seated. As we prepare for Kaddish, we turn to page 69. O God, as we recall the loss of those so loved, be with us. Help us to remember that all things change, the earth and stars, time and seasons, and we who must to dust return. You alone are everlasting, our eternal rock, whose presence redeems us from death and despair. God of comfort, shield us with your love and kindness. Help us to know that time does heal, and grief will yield its final grip. May the memory of those we loved and lost strengthen our lives and guide us always in the ways of goodness. God of compassion, be with us now and grant us peace. We recall the loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have taken into our hearts with our own. Tonight, our congregational family remembers with special affection our loved ones whose yahrzeit will occur this coming week. Anne Krull, mother of Ira Krull. Christopher David Betts, son of Denise and Ben Kravitz. Daniel Morgan, brother of John Morgan. We also remember all those killed on and since October 7th as a result of the Hamas attack on Israel. If you are remembering someone this evening, we invite you to say that person's name aloud now. Zichronam livracha. May the memories of all our dear ones be a blessing. If you're saying Kaddish in someone's memory tonight, we ask you to rise now. In loving support of the mourners, we rise as a congregation. In gratitude to God for the gift of the lives of their loved ones, those who are in mourning and those remembering someone, say Kaddish on page 71. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon uvyomeichon, v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalah v'izman kariv imru amen, yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'lalmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal, shmei dekud shabrichu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran ba'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who mourn, and comfort all of the bereaved. And we say, Amen. Please be seated. It's my pleasure to call on Adam Garber to share some announcements on behalf of our board of directors.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Torah study tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. with Rabbi Carr in person with bagels and coffee, and then also remotely, in which case you're in charge of your own bagels and coffee. Tomorrow's Havdalah service will begin at 7 o'clock on Zoom. As we prepare for the upcoming high holidays, TCS needs your help. In Jewish tradition, Hagbah is the honor of lifting Torah scroll after it has been read in the synagogue. Hagbah is performed by the Magbiah, the person who raises the scroll high for the congregation to see the sacred text. We are looking for a few more members to serve as Magbiah during our service. If you would like to take on this meaningful role, please reach out to Rabbi Carr. And my arms are getting tired, so I would appreciate help.
So it's appropriate that you make this announcement.
Getting older. Please help support Noah Gorofsky's Bar Mitzvah project. He is collecting books for all age groups and donating them to ARC. There's a box placed in the lobby for collection. Please see your weekly email or flyers in the lobby for more information. Donations are urgently needed. TCS has pledged an ongoing contribution to Family Table of 30 cans of tuna and 30 cans of vegetarian soup each month. There's a box placed in the lobby for collection. If you would like to donate money to Family Table, also monthly, instead of cans, please see the link in your weekly email. Please call or email TCS office if you have any questions. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Thank you, Adam. I have two other brief announcements. One is that, as I mentioned at the start of the service, this Siddur that we've been using is a pilot version. We have a task force of 6 congregants, plus our cantorial soloist David and me, who worked on it to put it together for the congregation. And now we are very interested in congregational feedback about it. There was a sheet out on the table in the foyer with a questionnaire about your experience using the Siddur. Also, there's a link to an online version of the questionnaire if it's easier to fill that out. We really do want to know what people think about it, what's working well, what doesn't work so well. Please let us know. That will help us to refine it and develop it for the actual printing. So that's one. The second thing is that I wanted, in full disclosure, I didn't want to say this earlier because I didn't want to bias anybody about this, but I wanted to, in full disclosure, say that the author of that blog that I shared is my nephew, my wife's brother's son. So for what it's worth, I thought I should disclose. Our final song tonight is on page 73. Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefto Kol, Azai Malach Shemon Ikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Yimloch Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hove, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefto Kol, Azai Malach Shemon Ikra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Echad, Ve'ein Sheni, Laham Shilo Lahachbira Adon Olam, B'li Reshit, B'li Tachlit, Ve'lo Ha'oz V'ha'misra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefto Kol, Azai Malach Shemon Ikra Adon Olam, Ve'hu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzor Chavli B'eitzara Adon Olam, Ve'hu Nisi, Umanos Li, Menat Kosi B'yom Ekra Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefto Kol, Azai Malach Shemon Ikra Adon Olam, Beyado, Afkir Ruchi, Be'et Ishan V'ayira Adon Olam, Ve'im Ruchi, Geviyati, Adonai Li Ve'lo Ira Adon Olam, Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Leit Nasa, V'chefto Kol, Azai Malach Shemon Ikra Adon Olam. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. We will reconvene in the foyer for Kiddush and Motzi.